Today on MIA News, Miami-Dade Commission approves purchase of police body cameras.
Miami Seaquarium makes changes to killer whale show.
Keys man breaks into airport, hides in Delta plane in bid to escape country.
New toll system on the Dolphin and Airport expressways.
Would you rather be fined or arrested for pot?
Good morning and welcome to MIA News. My name is Chris Schnevers.
And I'm Sarah Lopez on today's MIA News. The Miami-Dade County Commission has approved spending up to $5 million to purchase police body cameras. The next step in the process is to allow vendors to compete for an initial purchase of 500 cameras. Mayor Carlos Jimenez says he will then ask for additional money in the following years to buy 500 more cameras. Mayor Jimenez expects Miami-Dade police officers to be wearing the cameras by the end of the year.
Do you know who's listening into your calls? Anyone. You talk to family, friends, anyone. Is your privacy being invaded? Jonathan Goss has the answer coming up. Let me see if he's available right now.
Hi, honey. I know. All right, I'll call you back, but right now I'm in the middle of a report right now. You'll be famous. Okay. The phone call you just heard could have easily been recorded by the government. Any normal conversation. And with the Reform Act that passed, the Freedom Act signed, gives more power to the surveillance laws. So we want to know what regular people think about this and how does it affect their security? If it will also protect against terrorism, or do they still think they should live a normal life without being completely invasion of privacy? We turn now to some of these people for a chance to hear what they have to say.
Well, I mean, yeah, me personally, I don't have anything to hide. So, I mean, if they want to, like, tap my Instagram, my Facebook, my text messages, that's fine. Me personally, but some people might have something to hide, or maybe they have something that they don't want anybody to find out. You understand? Like, maybe like a text message they don't want people to find out, so they're entitled to that privacy. So I don't think it's right of them to do that.
For us, I don't think that the government should be looking at it. Like, if I want to send my girl some pictures of me, the government shouldn't see that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but I don't do anything illegal or anything, so I guess for some people that don't do it, that, you know, that doesn't involve themselves in anything illegal, you know, like, then they wouldn't care. But I think that everyone should, you know, have their privacy.
Many people that we've talked to definitely agree that privacy is the number one thing and should not be compromised despite the reacts of the NSA and the Freedom Act. However, if you have nothing to hide also, that shouldn't be a factor as well. So most people again agree that their privacy should also remain number one. But at the same time, again, you got nothing to hide, what should you be afraid of? Now, excuse me, I need to answer this phone call. This is Jonathan Goss reporting live from Miami, Florida on MIA News. Excuse me for a second.
Kentucky and Ted Cruz of Texas have often stood shoulder to shoulder as allies. In March 2013, when Senator Paul launched his nearly 13-hour talking filibuster opposing the nomination of John Brennan for Central Intelligence Agency Director and condemning the use of drones, his freshman colleague from Texas helped him on the Senate floor by addressing legal concerns and reading aloud supportive Twitter comments. With Paul announcing his presidential bid on Tuesday, however, he's now competing with Cruz, who was the first to announce his candidacy on March 23rd. That raises the question as to which of them, if either, given the potentially crowded field, will carry the day for the anti-establishment wing of the party, and whether broaden his appeal enough to win the nomination. Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, expected to announce next week, scores the highest in could support, with 56%, though 26% say they could not support him. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker scores second highest, with 53%. In the Wall Street Journal NBC poll, Paul leads Cruz 49 to 40% as more acceptable to primary voters. It's an indication of greater electability, Paul would argue, but also perhaps why he's not willing to give up his Senate seat and will run for both.
Rate review list posted on healthcare.gov states that premium hikes are expected as high as 60% in certain plans and high-risk communities. Scott & White, insurance brokers in Texas, believed a 32% increase for exchange-based plans, while Humana Healthcare asking for an average 30% boost for its exclusive provider organization policies, which generally cover only in-network services. Manuel Cambo files this report in his Walking the Town segment.
As you can see, this is quite an anxiety trip for individuals of this age. They don't understand that they could be lied to in such a manner. They feel a high anxiety because something of this nature is quite important to them in the course of their lives. Mira, estamos aquí en Miami Rico Village preguntando a las personas que tienen Obamacare cómo se sienten con la noticia que se ha subido las primas.
Wow, eso ha tomado de sorpresa, es como una burla. Yo creo que es un programa que definitivamente está dando la razón a los republicanos de que en realidad es un programa que necesita mucha revisión y que no tiene ningún sentido. O sea, pensar que ahora hay que pagar el doble o el triple o que habían costos escondidos, esto es terrible para la población. Así de que no creo que vaya a tener muy buen resultado el famoso Obamacare.
¿Y usted piensa que por tu edad es un poco más grave la situación porque no puedes estar jugando con tu seguro y tener incertidumbre?
Por supuesto, es una mayor incertidumbre ahora.
Bueno, muchas gracias.
Ok, mucho gusto.
As you can see, the Obamacare is quite a scandalous operation for people of his age. In order to translate what he actually meant was to understand that he felt that that the Republicans had made their point and it was ignored. In fact, this does not save anybody any kind of money. What it does is create a lot of uncertainty and anxiety, especially for a person of his age. This is Manny Campbell reporting for MIA News. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Manny. In Florida, United Healthcare wants to raise the rates on the Obamacare exchange by 18% on average. Individual private are feeling the increases as well, as policies available in private marketplace would go up on average 31%. These increases and the high deductibles that accompany such policies, experts believe will cripple the middle class financially, and the economy has slowed considerably. Many economists have predicted a flatline GDP at less than 1% for another fiscal year. This GDP statistic may be long-term, like those experienced in Europe, as their 1% flatline GDP growth for the last 4 decades since the first national healthcare plan was instituted in the United Kingdom in 1974.
Music production has always been my passion. Here at Miami Media School, I'm learning the skills to pursue my career.
305 DYFL is the future.
On top of the world. On top of the world. On top of the world. Money.
Welcome back to MIA News. Following an investigation by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, the Miami Seaquarium is making changes to its killer whale performance. According to officials of the Seaquarium, a citation was issued by OSHA to remove employees from the water during Lolita's show performance because of concern for employee safety. Had the Seaquarium continued to expose trainers to the danger of direct contact, it could well have followed in SeaWorld's footsteps with the loss of a human life by a deeply frustrated captive marine mammal. Jared Goodman, the PETA Foundation Director of Animal Law, stated on Monday. PETA credits their efforts of a petition filed by several parties, which it said granted Lolita protection under the Endangered Species Act. The Animal Legal Defense Fund had also raised concerns about the conditions of Lolita, who has been at the aquarium for 45 years. For too long, Lolita has suffered pathetic and illegal conditions at Miami's aquarium. ALDF Executive Director Stephen Wells said, ALDF intends to see that this facility's failure to comply with the law and the harms they've caused her is swiftly corrected by the courts. Seaquarium officials said Lolita will continue to receive the same care, stimulation, and attention that she has received for nearly 45 years. She will continue to be an ambassador for her species at her home, the Miami Seaquarium.
That's a wonderful story, Sarah. Two other news. Jamie Crabtree, a 32-year-old Key Largo native, just wanted to leave. The Keys, Florida, America, you name it. So Wednesday night, according to a police report, Crabtree boarded a Greyhound bus headed for Key West. There, the 5'10" Hazelite drifter made his way to Key West International Airport. He jumped a barbed wire fence. In the dark, he spotted a small Delta plane sitting on the tarmac. Crabtree approached the plane. He figured out how to break the door seal and then climbed inside. He made his way to the cargo area. Exhausted, he fell asleep. Within a few hours, though, Crabtree's international travel dreams were squashed. Just after 6 a.m. Wednesday, Delta employees found the sleeping stowaway and notified police about an intruder inside their aircraft. I asked Mr. Crabtree how he got into the restricted area, Key West Police Officer Maureen Smith wrote in her report. He said he jumped the barbed wire fence with no trespassing signs by the FedEx building and walked over to the Delta aircraft because he wanted to leave the country. Crabtree was escorted to jail. He was charged with 1 count of third-degree burglary, a felony, and 1 count of second-degree trespassing, a misdemeanor. He committed the offense with the intent of stowing away on the Delta aircraft, the report says. By doing so, he was attempting to deprive the airline of the travel fare. Speaking of travel fare, this past November, anticipating the launch of a new toll system on the Dolphin and Airport expressways, Doral resident Alexander Gonzalez was worried. He was already paying about $50 every month on those roads to get to and from work at a communications company in Coral Gables. The changes would double to $100 a month in tolls, severely denting his family's expenses. So he decided to start a petition to air his grievances to the Miami-Dade Expressways Authority. He expected 100 signatures at most, but now, 7 months later, it's been signed more than 12,000 times. He plans to deliver it soon to Mayor Carlos Jimenez. I'd never made a petition before and I didn't expect anything. Gonzalez said, I have no idea how I got so many signatures, but it just shows how people are feeling. The new tolls began November 15 with a charge on every entrance and exit on the Dolphin and Airport expressways. Previously, all traffic heading west was toll-free, and many people never paid a single toll. Now every car traveling on the two roads pays. But rather than eat the cost of the new tolls, some drivers are avoiding the roads and talking small, already crowded side streets. The city is becoming a really difficult place to get around, she says. Miami was not ready for this kind of expansion it's having right now. There's already no public transportation. You can't just manage this by putting tolls everywhere.
Would you rather be fined or arrested for pot? If you're a user, this is something you should know. The Miami-Dade Police Department has helped draft a measure in the county commission that would allow its officers to leeway to issue fines and civil citations to anyone caught with small amounts of pot, instead of arresting them. The measure, which was drafted by Commissioner Sally Heyman, uses a state statute that gives local governments the option of treating misdemeanors as civil offenses. Advocates have long argued that small-time pot offenses clog up police and court resources and cost taxpayers millions. Nationally, the cost of prosecuting pot violations has been estimated as high as $10 billion. Throwing criminal charges at someone caught with a joint also adds new, non-violent people to the criminal justice system. That's one reason MDPD says it's supporting the move. Of course, there is a catch. The ordinance would apply only to MDPD's cops, assuming the county commission passes the measure at a committee hearing next week and Mayor Carlos Jimenez doesn't veto it. That could mean that the difference between a criminal charge or a civil fine would be which side of the city limits you're smoking your joint in. 1 million jobs have been created in the U.S. economy in the job scene. The government reported on Friday that employees added a hefty 280,000 jobs in May, well above the average monthly totals logged over the last year. The official unemployment rate ticked up to 5.5% as more Americans returned to the labor force and returned to actively looking for work. At the same time, hourly wages rose 0.3% last month, finally providing workers with some long-awaited gains. This is heartened by the growth in wages, which have now risen 2.3% over the last year. It's good and also a sign that capacity in the labor market is being utilized more fully. But at the same time, the Fed bought more than $4 trillion in United States Treasury bonds and mortgage-backed securities from 2009 to 2014 as part of its broader campaign to hold down interest rates and encourage risk-taking for investors and borrowing from businesses and consumers.
Well, right now it seems to be looking great outside, so let's see if that will remain for the rest of the week as we take a closer look at the weather with Jonathan Goss.
It sure does, Christian. And we look forward to Tuesday. We also will have 79 degrees, and in nighttime will be 63 degrees. As you can see, most of the week remains the same, approximately 79 degrees, remaining somewhat chilly during the night. On Friday, we have the same situation again, around the highs and the lows in the mid-60s and 70s. Also, this is a great time for you tourists to come visit South Florida and Miami. Check out the beaches, go to South Beach, check out wherever you want to see. It's just a beautiful, beautiful, sunny, beautiful weather right now all over South Florida. Over in Fort Lauderdale, not just Miami, Fort Lauderdale, you also have West Palm Beach, and even on Naples, on the other side here, you have Naples as well. So let's not forget to come visit Florida. It's the greatest time right now during this year. Also, let's not forget, it is hurricane season, so make sure you stock up and take precautions in any event that we have a hurricane. But we will also let you know with any alerts, so keep watching us right here on MIA News. This was your weekly weather report with me, Jonathan Goss.
Today on Entertainment, a behind-the-scenes rehearsal of how the BBC will handle the death of Queen Elizabeth II ended with an apology Wednesday after one of the reporters mistakenly tweeted that the British monarch had passed away. Ahmed Khawaja, a reporter working for the BBC's Urdu language service, posted on Twitter that the 89-year-old had been taken to the hospital. A second tweet then announced Queen Elizabeth had died. This incorrect tweet was swiftly deleted. The initial report was picked up by the media outlets, including CNN, News Source, and the German newspaper. However, when NBC News alerted Buckingham Palace to the tweets, a spokesman said the Queen was not only alive, but carrying out public engagements. It is not clear exactly how the mistake happened, but the UK's publicly funded broadcaster was staging an internal drill to examine its readiness for the Queen's death. Khawaja later said that she had left her cell phone at home unattended. She tweeted, "Silly prank, apologies for upsetting anyone." A BBC spokesperson said during a technical rehearsal for an obituary, tweets were mistakenly sent from the account of a BBC's journalist. The confusion was deepened by the coincidence the Queen had earlier attended her annual medical checkup. This was a routine pre-scheduled appointment. The Queen has now left the hospital and carries on with her engagements, a Buckingham Palace statement said. This was your entertainment. I'm Ebony Miller. Back to you, Chris.
God save the Queen. What a beauty she is. News alert. This just coming into our studio from Charleston, South Carolina. 3 men, 6 women, including the church pastor, confirmed dead after a shooter, while participating in a Bible study class, opened fire. The shooter is identified as 21-year-old Dylan Stormroof from nearby Columbia, South Carolina. According to FBI on the scene, a manhunt is still underway to find him. Dylan Roof is no stranger to crime, as he's out on bond for charges related to drug possession and trespassing. A mugshot from the trespassing arrest is being circulated in efforts to capture him. Witnesses confirmed he reloaded his .45 caliber pistol 5 times. The gun was given to him by his uncle as a birthday present.
At 9:05 this evening, we received a call of a shooting that had occurred at the church here on Calhoun Street. When officers arrived, they found a number of victims inside, and we had also individuals that were transported to the MUSC Emergency Trauma Center. We were able to determine that there were 8 deceased individuals inside of the church. 2 individuals were transported to MUSC. One of them has died. So at this point, we have 9 victims in this heinous crime that has been committed. We are looking for a white male, approximately 21 years old, sandy blonde hair, and he obviously is extremely dangerous.
People in prayer on a Wednesday evening, a ritual, coming together, praying and worshiping God, to have a awful person come in and shoot them is inexplicable, obviously the most intolerable and unbelievable act possible.
I do believe this was a hate crime.
Is that why the FBI is here? Is it being investigated as a hate crime?
It will be investigated as a hate crime, but
Wednesday
the FBI would be
mass
here
shooting
regardless
at the
because
historic
of the
Black
size
church in
and scope of the
Charleston's
investigation.
Emmanuel
And
AME
there are-
Church, which is the oldest Methodist Episcopalian church in the Deep South, dating as far back as 1791. It is often called Mother Emmanuel for its rich history of redemption and rebuilding after several arson attacks in decades past, while standing up to forces of white supremacy and suppression. In Mayor Joe Riley's press conference clearly calls Dylan Stormroof's actions a hate crime. The only reason someone would walk into a church and shoot people that were praying is hate. The FBI is on the scene and involved in a manhunt statewide. Sylvia Johnson, a cousin of Pastor Clementa Pinckney, who is one of the dead victims, said, "The shooter said, I have to do it. You rape our women and you're taking over our country, and you have to go." Photographs that Dylan himself posted on his Facebook page shows him in a snow-filled background wearing a windbreaker with 2 chest patches of national flags representing apartheid era in South Africa and white-ruled Rhodesia. More on this story as more facts are revealed or his capture is announced. Over to you, Sarah.
Miami leads nation in hotel occupancy rates and revenue. There are 8,000 new hotel rooms expected to be built over the next 5 years in Miami-Dade. That will add to a total of hotel room inventory in the county that's already well over 50,000 rooms, but apparently will need them all. Turns out Miami hotels lead the nation in key statistics like occupancy rate and profitability. That's what Rolando Aedo, Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau Senior VP of Marketing and Tourism, said. The information comes from industry tracker Smith Travel Research. As of April, the average daily occupancy in Miami was 84.2%. The average rate for a hotel room here is $241.70 per night. And out of that rate, hotels take an average revenue of $203.49 to the bank each time. The hotel inventory here is also growing by about 3%, compared to a national average of 1%. In 2015 alone, 2,500 new rooms have been or will be built. Notable hotels that have opened or will open in 2015 are the Hyatt Centric South, Beach Miami, which just opened on Monday. The Hotel 1600 at Collins Avenue has 105 rooms. The AC Hotel Miami Beach at 29th and Collins also recently opened. The One Hotel and Homes Miami Beach, which opened in the old Gansevoort. The East Miami, which is expected to open at Brickell City Center later on this year. It will be Swire Properties' first hotel in America and will have 263 rooms. The Faena Hotel in Miami Beach in the Old Saxony Hotel in the Faena District in Mid-Beach will open later this year. The Nautilus Hotel at 1825 South Beach will open its 250-room property in July. The Aloft at South Beach will open next week at 2300 Collins Avenue with 235 rooms. The 163-room hall at 15th and Collins is expected to open later this year, and those are just the fancy ones. Chris, when you have to go somewhere in a hurry, did you know there's a faster way to get somewhere? Reporting live from Miami, Andrea introduces us to Uber, the new way to travel.
Uber came out in San Francisco, California in March 2009, and it is available in 55 countries and 200 cities worldwide. After 6 years, some of the taxi organizations want Uber to be eliminated. How can you say Uber benefit other people?
There is an opportunity for thousands of people who don't have other choice to job.
And what do you think about people wanting to eliminate Uber, and how would that affect you?
Innovation appear in the whole world. At the same time, appear the enemy against this idea. That happened with the Kodaks. No, do you know Kodaks?
Yes.
When appeared the digital, no, Kodak disappeared.
Yeah, that's true. We also interviewed someone who uses Uber to tell us a little bit more about his experience. Can you say Uber has benefited you, and will you recommend it to other people?
I just came here from Australia. I think Uber is very, very good, necessary means for getting around the way. It's very convenient, very fast, very quick. So I've used Uber very, very efficiently.
Well done, Andrea. I think I will be using Uber from now on. Back to you, Chris.
This is Christian Schneeweiss.
And this is Sarah Lopez on MIA News.
Have a good night.
That's a wrap.